Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Binging the Force with Rocky Mountain Fan Force. My name is James. I'm the chapter rep. This is a place where Star Wars friends get together to rewatch Star Wars shows and discuss Star Wars content. Today, we'll be watching The Mandalorian Season 1, Chapter 4, Sanctuary with Cara Dune. I am proud to be joined today by Dale, Jonathan, and Michael. Reminder that you can find us on Facebook at Rocky Mountain Fan Force, YouTube at Binging the Force, and Anchor Binging the Force. Gentlemen, how's everybody doing today?
Wonderful. I'm here. I'm alive. It's cold in Denver right now, but I'm inside instead of podcasting -5 degrees outside, so it's all good.
Yeah, we don't do weather reports on this show.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong podcast. Bye, y'all.
Yeah,
Dale?
I've been traveling all week. It's also like the ice planet Hoth. Again, I'm glad to be indoors watching Star Wars.
Dale is coming to us from hotel Wi-Fi, so
I love hotel Wi-Fi. It's my favorite chain.
Right.
And you travel for work, don't you?
Dale, you travel for work, right? So sometimes
Yes,
you're going to be coming to us from
my Tauntaun. That's right. I was up earlier, but
I'm not sure how well Dale's going to be
apparently
here today.
Imperials are jamming his signal.
Yes, he's got Imperials that are preventing his broadcast.
Yes.
And I'm feeling better after last week. I was sick for most of a week, and had my daughter sub for me last week, and I think that went actually pretty well. But I'm mostly functioning again. Apologies for the tardiness on getting that episode out on the YouTube, and hopefully we'll get this episode up pretty quickly this week.
Yeah. Glad you're feeling better, Michael.
You almost pulled like a real Star Wars where you would put out the episodes out of order. You know what I'm saying? Then that would be acceptable. If you put out episodes 4, 5, and 6 of this, then 1, 2, 3, all good.
Back to you, James.
Let's see. As far as upcoming events, I just want to go ahead and mention a couple things. So we're going to be doing the March 11th. Some of us are going to be going to the St. Patrick's Day Parade. We'll be doing with a couple other Star Wars groups in the area. So keep a lookout for the events tab in Facebook for that. And then we'll probably be doing a monthly get-together, probably, I believe, March 18th of next month. But keep an eye on the Facebook page, and we'll go ahead and post something up on the events tab. And for people that are new to the Rocky Mountain Fan Force group, we're kind of a chill, kind of laid-back Star Wars group. We get together sometimes online, sometimes in person to talk Star Wars, discuss, kind of Star Wars news, events that are going on in the Star Wars universe, and discuss some of the things that we're checking out as far as the Star Wars content, whether it be books or movies or shows. So please check us out on Facebook.
I blame hotel Wi-Fi. I think it's a guilty party tonight.
All right, hold on. How about now? I had.
How about now? Sure, that sounds good. Dale, I think you've got spotchka is better than bone broth in your text under your name.
That's right.
What the heck is spotchka? I feel like as a Star Wars fan, I should know this.
Well, I don't know that Star Wars used it before. I think it's been kind of a generic term for alcoholic drink. But I think in Mando canon, it's made from the blue krill that they farm in this episode. So I imagine they're eating those krill as well, but apparently some of that byproduct goes into an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, that's a popular thing in Star Wars, right? Like there's I don't know if there's even like one Star Wars movie where they're not drinking something, right? So, and whether it's blue milk or some sort of alcoholic beverage, I mean, they like to get their drink on in Galaxy Far, Far Away. I mean, I can't blame them. It's a crappy place to live, so I'd be hammered a lot if I had to live there too.
Yeah, especially on the outer rim. Yeah, you got to drink to make it by.
Right. So that's what they're farming this episode. Blue krill. That sounds like an animal instead of a plant, right?
It's like they look like just like a krill, like a crawdad kind of thing.
Have you guys ever had crawdads? Because I lived in Texas, close to New Orleans, so we would have like, crawdad festivals where, you get a bucket and you got to like crack those suckers open. That's not what they're doing in this episode, but like that's good eats. That and some hush puppies. Maybe they need hush puppies.
Yeah, having grown up in Houston too, I used to catch them in the bayou.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah, this looks more like rice patties in this episode more than the bayou.
Very cool. All right, we going to get into it?
Yeah, Michael, you want to go ahead and lead us into the episode?
Sure. I want to see those krill.
Get your fork. It's a good thing I had dinner before this episode. Now I'm not going to be hungry while I'm watching them.
Yeah.
So here's our recap from last week.
So
lots of armor for everybody.
Does he get to keep that Camto thing that he brought the Beskar in, or is that just luggage? You just toss it if you're done with it here, I guess.
There's probably a 10-cent return charge. You can trade them in for his next one, or maybe it's like you return like a gas tank and
return a bottle back to the gas station. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they played the clips a little bit out of order from the episode, but basically it's everyone is against Mando now. Everyone was jealous of him, and now they're all still want to take the child because there's a new bounty for it.
Yeah. So literally everyone is looking for him. So now he's a man on the run.
And not just him, right? The other Mandos, they're on the run too.
Yeah,
true. They helped by helping him. They all had to run away. So basically scattered his little tribe there.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably not that broken up about it. They're Mandos. They're used to having to pick up and go someplace else.
Yeah, they're kind of nomads. They have to go where they're.
So there's your krill.
Ooh, delicious.
And we know it's Star Wars because they're blue.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's alien because it's blue. It's Star Wars. Well, and it seems like, I mean, we're in another agrarian society, kind of like Ahsoka's planet, where, they're all like farmers, but they also have droids. So, it's even the farm societies have droids, have mechanized assistants. So there really aren't planets that are just like completely so cut off from technology that they're just purely agrarian. But I like that they incorporate the blue of the krill. Obviously, it's like something that they use in everything because every person's piece of clothing has that same blue in it.
Do you think they grind up the krill and that's like their paste, their color dye for their clothes?
Yeah, I think it's everything. I think they use it for as much as they can. It's their primary resource, obviously.
Right.
It's a symbiotic relationship, if you will.
Yep.
I don't know what the krill get out of them, but there you go.
But so this is different in terms of an opening. I mean, we're not starting with a character that we know. We're starting in a place that we don't know. We're starting with people that we don't know. It's this little village is got their quiet, peaceful, tranquil existence, and now they're getting attacked.
Yeah, I think you're still emotionally invested, though. You just see them living a peaceful life, so you automatically think that they're the good guys, and you've got these people with blasters coming in, and you automatically think they're the bad guys, they're the Raiders, coming in here. No offense to any LA Raiders fans, but
they do kind of look like LA Raiders fans.
Vegas Raiders fans.
Oh, sorry, Vegas Raiders fans. Yes,
they've come from the black hole,
taking out their droids. Yeah, and they called them the Clatoonians there in the sub. So in the subtitles, I don't know who Clatoonians are.
Aren't they the aliens from Return of the Jedi? Weren't they in Jabba's palace?
Like Klaatu, Nikto, Barada.
That's it. Oh,
Klaatu's
the
got
dog,
it.
The dog face one, Klaatu. Yes. And I feel like some of them were also in the Battle for Endor, also in the role of raiders. So
Was Battle for Endor one of those Ewok movies?
yeah, second one.
Dale, you're killing me here.
deep cut.
I was thinking about how you brought up that it gets right into the story. You know, traditionally Star Wars has a crawl kind of set it up with all the films, and then most of the films, and then Clone Wars, you know, had an opening monologue, and then like Rebels and other series, you know, you see the main characters, but this is different. That, you know, that first 90 seconds or couple minutes scene was all brand new characters for us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that the show Mandalorian did really well, is bringing in multiple directors. They can each kind of put their stamp on it, put their feel, their touch, their style in these episodes. So
speaking of touch, as the child keeps touching buttons and pressing buttons, and
that was my child at 3. Yeah.
and he's like, "Stop touching things."
So what?
Yes, different filmmakers, different styles. Because I believe each of the 4 episodes so far have been a different director, and they've all been directors who would become regular directors for the Disney Plus Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep. This is Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yep, this is her first episode. Yep, and really established that, you know, she'd done some directing, but I don't think she'd done any action, and so this was her first time really directing action.
And I just have to point out that the Mandalorian called Grogu the little womp rat. So if you'd like to look at my name here, I womp rat die. I had to appreciate that line. Okay.
There you go. Nice. Is that our first womp rat reference in the Mandalorian?
Hopefully not the last.
Yeah.
So apparently Mira or someone from the village there, they recognize his ship as being, hey, that's a mercenary ship? Or
I mean, I think it's just, hey, someone with a ship. I mean,
they probably don't get a lot of
any
outworlders, right?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Yeah. I mean, in the dialogue there with him talking to the child, he basically said, you know, it's a backwater planet. No one comes here. It's a great place for us to hide out. Just have a couple months of quiet. You know, he's on the run. So he's like, okay, let's go somewhere where no one's going to be looking for us, you know, somewhere that no one goes to. And so it seems like they don't get a lot of ships. So, I mean, I think just the villagers were like, hey, someone with a ship, you know.
They see his armor and they're probably like, oh, this guy's probably a bounty hunter or like a tough guy.
Well, when they meet him up later, they know he's a Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do they indicate if this is an outer rim type planet, or most of these probably?
Well, the whole show takes place in
are,
the rim.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they established that, like, he's never heard of Jedi, you know. I mean, that's it's all planets that are not part of the kind of galactic core where, you know, the bulk of the Empire was there, and stuff, you know, the Republic really never even touched these planets for the most part.
Yeah.
More food. Tasty episode here.
Yeah, and of course there was the great moment with him saying, you know, it's like, stay here, you understand, you know what I'm talking about, you speak the same language as me, right? He has no idea, and he's telling them to stay, and of course the last thing the child's going to do is stay, and walks right out with him. He's like, okay, fine. and we see him walking quite a bit. We still don't see feet. We have never seen his feet.
Well, we know Yoda has feet. So.
Yeah.
We know they have feet.
We get a little, I was going to say cameo there from a Lothcat seen in Rebels.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. We get our first glimpse of Cara Dune. And of course, his hope is that he's not going to see anyone who he knows could be dangerous or would be anyone who travels. And of course, his first thing is, you know, that woman over there, when did she get here? You know, she's definitely out of place.
Yeah, he recognizes the type of person that she is.
Yeah, game recognizes game. Yeah.
How come they only have broth on the menu? They have all these krill and stuff, and they're just broth seems rather bland and boring.
Maybe it's the special for the day. I don't know.
Yeah.
And spatchka.
Hey.
Right.
Is there a happy hour?
Is he going to give the spatchka to the kid? That seems inappropriate.
Yeah, maybe and rather than bringing him a kids menu, that's the only thing on the kids menu.
That is the kids menu, yeah. Bone broth.
She should at least bring him the kids menu with like a coloring book. You can play tic-tac-toe and draw on it. Yeah.
And he immediately asks this waitress, who's just, he's obtained her loyalty in 4 seconds by just giving her money. You'll watch the kid, right?
Right. Unfortunately, the only crayon they have is blue. There's no other colors there. Or the kids menu coloring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mando is not the most responsible parent. He's got a lot to learn here. Just don't leave kids alone.
This is true.
Or pay strangers to watch them.
Yeah. And immediately we get a cool kind of fist fight here.
Yeah, I mean that's what Gina is known for, right? Mixed martial arts. She's going to bring some of the moves of this show.
Exactly. It was cool to see that right away. It's like, okay, that's the big part of why they hired Gina Carano for this role is she can do the physical part.
Yeah. And every single time, every single fight he's in, he always tries using the fire, and it almost never helps him. He just will not give up trying the fire. Yeah. But I like the standoff where they both have their guns pointed to each other, and there's the baby just standing there and drinking the broth, just staring at them.
He's like, watching. What? Why'd you stop the show? Yeah.
You must be slurping that broth pretty loud for them to just completely cut off their battle.
And then we find out that she's a I guess, New Republic shock trooper, I guess, or ranger. I'm not sure exactly what it was called, but she's kind of describing what she did is that she's a tough person who worked for the ex-rebels turned New Republic. They would drop them into planets and kind of clean up the remnants of the Empire from planet to planet.
Yeah.
So she's definitely got some cred as a tough person. She knows how to handle herself. She has been in lots of really tough situations. And I like the fact that almost immediately they, after fighting each other, they almost immediately established this immediate respect for each other.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. But it makes sense that they explained why they were fighting there, what the beef was. She just assumed there was a bounty out for her being a deserter, and it was him coming to collect.
Well, and he assumed the same, is that they both assumed the same thing, that they were had each other's fob and were each looking for each other. She knew that he was part of the guild. She recognized that she can assume that he's part of the guild. And then she basically says, "Hey, I'm already here, so you need to find a new place to go." It's respect, but hey, move on.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Right, exactly. But then you've got the two guys, two of the younger men of the village. This is, I could say this through the entire episode. This is a very familiar story. If you've seen any Western ever, if you've seen definitely any Western TV show or movie from 1950 to 1970, since then I'd say it's mostly things being nostalgic for that story or making fun of that story. But it's this incredibly familiar Western story of, the small town of farmers and ranchers are being troubled by the tough, cattle people trying to take over their land for cattling, or more likely the railroad trying to put a railroad through. And, it's always the small town under attack by the larger force, and they're just peaceful agrarian people and don't have the resources to fight for themselves. So they must reach out and pay the mysterious stranger, usually with no name, tough person who knows how to handle themselves, who knows how to have a weapon. In this case, they go, "We recognize you. You're a Mandalorian. Here's money. Come help us. Come save our town." And he's doesn't really want to have anything to do with it. But then they basically say, "Hey, we're out in the middle of nowhere." And he's like, "Oh, you're out in the middle of nowhere. That actually can kind of work for me right now. That's really kind of the situation I'm looking for. Maybe I can come save your town. Give me that money."
So a little bit of a twist in the normal Western or any Akira Kurosawa films. Seven Samurai is another popular comparison for this episode to that movie, except it's one samurai in this instance.
Even the Three Amigos. It's same story.
Yeah,
comedy making fun of that Western story, but it's the same story. It's
it's a Western theme. Even Battlestar Galactica, the original one, they did
Yep.
they did an episode with the one Cylon, and Apollo ends up
Yep.
there and has to.
It's been done in Star Wars as well on Clone Wars. There was an episode against Hondo Anaka where they trained the villagers to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he took the money not for himself. He took the money so he could pay her, because since they respect each other, and he knows like she's tough and she could be helpful in this situation. She knows her way around a fight. It's like, he gives her the money to say, hey, why don't you join me and let's go to this small remote town where no one is looking for us and save this town and have a quiet place to stay for a while.
And these kids respond just like any normal kid to Baby Yoda.
Yes,
Baby
yes.
Yoda.
He's so cute.
These were kids who, before anyone else knew about Baby Yoda, they were the first ones to get to play with a Baby Yoda doll.
Right.
And of course, an absolute requirement for this story of the tall, handsome, tough stranger comes to town to save the town. There's always the gorgeous woman, the young, pure, widow in the town who is sweet and lovable, but knows how to take care of herself, who he can fall in love with.
Yep. This actress, Julia Jones, plays Omira. I've only seen her in Westworld. She was featured in an episode there, but I know she's been in a lot of other stuff. Have you guys seen her in any other roles?
I know I recognized her when I saw her, but nothing off the top of my head. I mean, I recognize the girl too, the daughter. I know I've seen her in something.
Okay.
But yeah, immediately there's this, strong, silent type, attraction there. It's all classics of this genre. I mean, even I'd say like our more recent version of it, the kind of going from town to town saving, is shows like The Fugitive, Incredible Hulk. I mean, Kung Fu, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the mysterious stranger, comes to town, saves the small town,
and then walks off to the soundtrack.
Always leaves in the sunset. Yeah, walks off in the sunset. Yep. In this case, they leave in a cart, I believe.
Yeah. Speaking of soundtrack, all the episodes are a little bit different style of music. This one is all about just like acoustic guitars, like very simple strings. No brass on this planet.
I love it. Can I feed him? Can I play with him? Mando's like, well, if he'll let you, sure, it's fine with me.
Great dad there.
Yeah. I mean, I think at this point he might have to hope that he doesn't eat her, but it's like, can I feed him? Well, yeah, but I'm not guaranteeing any fingers coming back with a hand.
Yeah.
And then she's like, they'll be fine. Let him play.
They're kids. Come on now.
Yep. And here we start to get from him some of the details that we kind of haven't. We've kind of gotten a sense of it, but we've had to get it mostly through context. And here he really kind of details more of the whole, credo of the Mandalorian sect that he comes from, about the not taking off the helmet. Because she's actually asking him, how long has it been since you've taken that off? Because clearly, he's like, well, it's yesterday. He had to eat, but but he doesn't take it off in front of anyone else, because so we never see him eat a meal. No one has ever seen him eat a meal. They don't even see each other eat a meal.
Right. They never really explain why that is. Like, what is their deal with? They're trying not to reveal their face.
I mean, I would think the hope is that in season 3, as he's now going to be interacting
with more Mandalorians,
with more of more traditional Mandalorians from Mandalore, that aren't from his sect. That, I mean, I think we may delve into more of the reasons behind that, or the kind of differences between them.
Daly just told you, this is the way.
Yeah. This is the way. Yeah.
I do like that the subtitles put a capital W on way. Like, there should be a little trademark. This is their slogan.
But yeah, I love it. We're literally seeing the first kids get to play with the Baby Yoda.
So he does take his helmet off. So those kids turn around, they could see his face, right?
Well, I think the assumption is he can see them, but he's in a position where they wouldn't see his face.
It's behind a one-way mirror.
Well, just his perspective. I mean, where he can see them, but they can't see him. But that is the first time we've actually seen him take off the helmet.
Sort of.
I love the view like through his visor. It's like the Predator, where it's like a heat signature kind of thing. I think that's awesome. They've never done that before.
Yeah, we didn't get to see that with Boba Fett, did we? We didn't get to see things through Boba Fett's eyes.
Not yet.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember in episode 2, did we see it through Jango Fett's eyes? And here they discover it's like, okay, they're kind of doing some checking out of who they've been paid to protect the village from, and they assume it's just a bunch of tough people, and now they realize there's an Imperial ATST involved. Of course, there's absolutely no explanation on this planet where ships don't really come, and it's this gang of Klatooinians. Where did they get an ATST? I mean, I guess maybe we could just assume some Imperial remnant somewhere. It fell from the sky or something.
They bought it off eBay, right?
Yeah, it got repossessed, and then someone flipped it on eBay.
They bought it at one of those auctions, got it on the cheap. Yeah.
But immediately, I like that, the first words from the Mandalorian is like, yeah, you got to move. And she's like, not the smoothest way to introduce the concept to them. It's just his first words. So like, yeah, you got to move.
Yeah. But apparently, those two never saw Return of the Jedi to see you just need 2 logs to defeat the ATST.
Right. Yeah. There was no concept of if the Ewoks could do it, you guys could do it. But no, they're basically just assuming it's like, okay, this was more than we bargained for. You cannot defeat something like that. But then the villagers kind of step up. Cara Dune is very clear about you cannot fight that thing. But the villagers are like, we're not moving. And then he's like, unless we show you how. And then she turns to him and like,
it's like, wait a minute, didn't you just say to get the heck out of here?
Are we not on the same page? They were on the same page like 12 seconds earlier.
They need to cover their talking points first. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no discussion of like, well, if the villagers persist, then I'm going to fall like a cheap house of cards.
Yeah. Did they already say
we need to work on this?
Have they already said that they don't have any more money? Like, because I feel like this part here, they should get paid a little extra. Training wasn't in the original deal.
Right, yeah, because now again, it's a traditional Western trope here of I remember the exact scene here in Blazing Saddles where, the exact same scenario where the villagers decided to step up, or I think they had to convince the villagers to the townspeople to like step up and be brave and then train them and come up with the whole complicated, plan of how they're going to survive the attack and actually beat the attackers. And then he's like, does anyone know how to shoot? And of course it's her.
It's a montage,
right? It's a training montage. We're handing out the weapons, we're seeing who can shoot,
we're going from sticks to guns,
right? The pointy stick goes the other way. The pointy end goes into the man,
right? Don't stab yourself.
Yeah.
Stab the ATST. Yeah.
Now, do you guys recognize that one actor there who's one of the guys who went and got them? I believe is Eugene Cordero.
Was he on Loki?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's where I've seen him.
Yep. I believe he's a stand-up comic. He does a lot of stuff more recently, but yeah, in particular, he's people have been recognizing him from Loki.
Yeah, I sure I've seen him in something else, but that's
he's been doing a lot of stuff recently. And you got the sweet moment here between the two of them. The sun is about to set. We'll be leaving soon.
Whoa, he's coming in hot. What was that again?
Well, he said we're leaving, but when we come back, we'll be coming in hot, which basically means as soon as you see us come back, it means get ready to shoot.
Sorry, I thought that was a bit of foreplay. My bad.
No, the dialogue is
actually his concept of it. Yes.
Yeah, the dialogue is picking up in their scenes. The first scene, she was like, "I stacked some blankets over here." Well, that's good for you. Good job.
Yeah, she's not being subtle about her attraction.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to shoot your daughter. That was part of that whole meet cute when they get to know each other.
Yeah. So their plan here is they're going to basically poke the bear. They're going to go in and get them to chase them and get them to bring the ATST. They've had the people dig a trench so that the ATST will fall into the trench. So that kind of removes their advantage of having it.
Spoiler alert.
Well, that's the plan. They discussed it.
Oh, okay.
Also,
Let's, you know,
is
we don't know
are
if
they
that's actually gonna
drinking?
happen.
Are they drinking glowing spotchka, or is there a light in the cups?
Yeah, you've been to like Disneyland, right? They sell those cups. They light up, but don't hope it doesn't break. You can't wash those things. It's
Right.
poison.
It looks really cool the first time you use it.
Exactly.
Well, especially when she drowns someone in the glowing water.
Yeah, there's worse ways to go. Some good fights, good action scenes. We need those.
Yep.
Like even they're like the best, they can still kind of get taken, you know.
I love when someone just like tries to punch him in the head. I mean, you're punching that metal. It's like,
Right? Go for the soft spots.
Yeah, none of these characters have superhero, special powers or anything like that. So
Yep, they're not Jedi.
they're mortals.
Yeah, it's like a fighting dirty. There's not more like down and dirty, hand-to-hand combat in this series.
it does seem like more people would try to stab him in the cloth parts of his outfit.
No, because you just gotta try to punch him in the head, and that's how it goes.
I think she tried to punch him in the head.
Well, she tried to
Oh, it's
shoot
a-
him in the head when they had their guns pointed at each other. So
Right.
Is
Monster.
this the first time we've seen an ATST with like red glowing eyes there?
Yeah, that's
it's
kind
like
of
a monster.
Yeah. It was effective. It scared those villagers.
Yep.
It's scaring me right now. Gotta keep telling myself it's only a show. I mean, it looks really intimidating. It looks awesome.
Yeah, and how do these bad guys know how to maintain an ATST? Come on.
They get a manual with their eBay purchase, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, where are they getting parts though, man? These things break down.
Yeah, there's no explanation as to where they obtained it, how they know how to use it. I mean, we don't even see who's driving it.
I
Well,
mean, we know
whoever's driving is
Chewbacca
probably
can drive
blinded
it.
by that red light, right? Like that's another sci-fi trope. The lights are pointed directly at you in the helmet that you're wearing. You don't see the lights pointing directly at the person, so you can't see where you're going.
They're also developing photos up there in the cockpit. So,
There's the red glowing lights coming from the forest. Just a few more steps, and
Yeah.
Close.
we're not going to make that last step because we're afraid of water.
The end.
yeah, you don't see the driver, so it's like the ATST is like a sentient being here. Like,
Right.
oh no, I don't want a trip.
Yep.
Maybe it is. We don't. Maybe it is a robot. We don't ever get to see people in there, do we?
That's true. Maybe the Clatunians are remote controlling it.
That could be.
But yeah, it did decide to stop and smart thing, stop and shoot. Hold your positions.
Can it hear them? Probably so, right? He's calling him back up.
Yeah, so now I mean the plan has somewhat failed. I mean they're gonna attack the people who are running at them, but they don't really have a plan for taking this thing out at this point.
Well, the plan's got to fall apart. That's
I mean,
always
really, the smartest thing would be for it to just sit there the entire time and just shoot at them. If it did that, they'd really be screwed.
Yeah, this is some good action here. This episode was nominated for an Emmy for editing. It didn't win, but you could see why it was nominated anyway.
And it's all in the dark, right? Like isn't that another kind of movie trope where if you don't have the big budget, let's just film stuff in the dark where it's harder to see. They'll cover some of the mistakes or things you can't quite tell.
Like Cara Dune is like, I've got another plan. Her backup plan
Lure
is
'em
basically
in,
get
yeah.
as close as she can to it to kind of draw it in.
Just gotta piss it off.
Yep. She's like, give me your what's that thing called, pulse rifle or whatever? his specific like U-shaped gun thing. Yeah, now they've got to go on the attack. And just hope that it makes one more step. Come
Right.
on, you know you want to. You know you
Well,
can't just stand there and shoot because that would just make sense.
And this is a long fight scene. Like this is going on quite a bit, right? For like a show,
Yeah.
longer than I would have expected.
It really established Bryce Dallas Howard as a action director.
Yeah.
Nobody's running in heels either. That's
Oh,
good.
good shot.
Right.
Right in the red eye.
Oh, no, it's black.
And so getting shot makes it want to move forward, and that's when they take it out. And
So
the
did she
coup de
hit a
grace.
person in there? It was a little hard to tell.
Yeah, we never do see that there's someone in there, I don't think. But now Mando runs in there and just puts a bomb in it and
Thermal detonator.
lobs a grenade into it, and that takes it out, and that really changes turns the tide of battle there. The Clatoonians are like, oh, okay, this is going to be tougher. Yeah, we've now lost our edge. We've now lost our unstoppable reason for success here, and they run tail.
Yeah.
And the town has
Unfortunately,
won.
they couldn't just drop in like Chewbacca and just take over. the walker.
That would be nice. Why do you have to blow it up? Couldn't you use like a EMP to zap it and they could like take it over, right?
I think Mando only has lethal weapons. No
Sure.
warning shots.
This is the way.
And we don't really find out until in the dialogue a little bit further here, but this is now like several weeks later.
Okay.
There you go.
So what do they do with
They're
that
all freaking
ATST?
out. It's like, yes, living things eat other living things. You eat krill. Why is the frog any different? And it's the first time we actually see him not eat the frog.
Right? Well, probably because it was raw. Maybe he just wanted it to be like battered and fried the legs. Just like down in New Orleans.
So they've just been basically chilling for several weeks now.
Well, is Cara Dune still there? Maybe she's enjoying the pay, you know?
Yeah, they're both just sitting there chilling. He's
Yeah,
leaning,
yeah.
she's sitting.
Making sure they don't come back, I guess. Maybe that's the reason.
Well, I mean, their reason was to have a place to hide out.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was the motivation for
That
going
was the
there.
plan.
She's got a big tray of krill there next to her. She's been just grabbing one and eating it,
Just
putting the
popping
shit
it.
all in that bucket.
But yeah, even she's like, why don't you just take the helmet off and marry the young widow and, live here happily with your kid. You have that option.
But Westerns.
Yeah, that's the hero
Yes.
never can do that.
Yep.
The hero must move on. But he does toy with the idea of leaving the child, of basically saying the child is happy, he's got all these kids to play with, being raised in a nice, happy, quiet town. I need to move on because I am who I am.
Again, showing how he's not the best dad.
Yep. Traveling's no life for a kid. The jumping krill there.
I think these kids need some better toys for this kid.
Yeah.
There's a ball made out of sticks and krill.
In the going to town, is it just a bar in town? There's no toy store?
Well, and I think they said when they went to find him, I mean, it took them a whole day to get from the village to the where the bar was,
Yeah.
to the town. So it's not exactly like around the corner. We've got our droids that are sifting. You've got people sifting. You've got droids sifting.
We didn't see that droid in the training montage, did we?
No.
Pew, pew. Yeah. It's a bad shot.
But yeah, he's definitely thinking about leaving the child.
She's
Yeah,
like, what about you?
Yeah, and of course the conversation is,
You've been staying in my house for weeks now.
Yeah. He's just not that into you, lady.
Oh, dang.
No, but he does think about it here. I mean, you can have a good life.
Can't blame her. I mean, in this galaxy, there's no guarantees, right? Like any sort of relationship is a short-term relationship. So
yeah, she goes to lift it up, and at first he is not stopping her. He eventually does, but he definitely let her be moving it up there.
Whoa.
Must trust her if he even let her touch his helmet.
Well, he's seriously considering it. It's probably the first time in years that he's slowed down enough. I mean, we've seen that his whole life was just one bounty to another.
Yeah.
No, not Grogu.
One thing you might notice is he seems kind of tall. It's not Pedro Pascal in this episode, so it's all the stunt doubles.
Yeah.
Because he was doing a stage play at the time.
Oh, interesting.
When they were shooting, so he just does the audio, and
I mean, it's built into the entire premise that there's no reason he has to be on that set. You know,
he was not on the set. Yeah.
No, we definitely need to leave now. Clearly,
yeah. Now that someone
Still
actually tracking him, yeah.
Which is crazy because obviously they haven't left any kind of trail. How the heck did they track him down?
Well, they're bounty hunters. That's what they do.
I blame Cara Dune.
Well, she's the one who saved him. I mean, that was a pretty bad move there. Where she shot the guy from behind. Where you think that the child's been shot, and it's her shooting him from behind because she's that good.
Yeah, good quick trick there to make you think that the child may have been shot.
But yeah, now he knows we both have to move on.
Kind of disappointed in him that he still takes their money. Come on.
He did the job.
He earned that money.
Yeah, I guess.
That's
but,
what he does.
Still an honor here, Mandalorian.
Maybe he just took a percentage.
I don't know. He's loading a lot of.
He is, in fact, a mercenary. That is what he does for a living. That is how he survives in the world.
He needs some new armor. You know what I'm saying? Needs more pieces.
Did they pack them some krill for the road?
Krill sandwiches.
Yeah.
Some lunch boxes.
Krill etouffee, krill gumbo,
krill gumbo,
fried krill, breaded and fried krill.
He's got to use the money to buy some more, more bullets or whatever that his big gun there takes. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, the ship doesn't fix itself. Bye-bye.
So wasn't that droid broken? Did they fix the droid, I guess? Didn't the Clatoon
I think they had multiple droids, but
oh, okay.
But yeah, so they ride off into the sunset as the Western hero always does.
Yeah.
Cue the Hulk soundtrack.
Yeah. Da, da, da,
Yeah, Cara Dune, I guess she just wanted to hitchhike and go off on her own direction.
Yeah.
Didn't want to hitch a ride.
Again, I like the introduction of that character. I really liked the relationship between them, that there's just respect and just like they're both people who are good in a tough situation. So, it's like, people that they each know that they can call on, in a future situation.
Planting the seeds for bringing these characters back / together.
Yep. But it's our first, real episodic episode so far, because the first 3 episodes was the whole cycle of him getting the child, deciding to keep the child, establishing his world, establishing, his code and his people and stuff like that. So the first 3 episodes are really a kind of, contained story there. And this is our first real standalone.
And that makes sense for the story that they wanted to tell in this one. I mean, it still kind of follows, right? Like, this is the story where he realizes he can't just go hide away. They will still come for you even if you go and hide away. So you still have to deal with this situation head on instead of trying to find some place, that you can avoid the situation, because shows that the bounty hunters will still come for you. So you got to address this problem in a different way.
Yeah.
Well, and it sets the precedent that they have to keep moving on. I mean, he really is not going to just find a place to hide. It's, the galaxy is going to come for him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's still something that he's dealing with by the third season, that it ends up being a very small universe. If people want to find you, they can.
Just need a tracking fob.
Right.
Pay them to go find you. Yep. Yeah, this is a good one. It's a fun one. Definitely like fits into the whole space western of the Mandalorian, but great characters, great pacing, great kind of set that they had here of the village. I think one that you could like easily just show somebody if you want to sell them on the concept of the show The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
This is a really good one that really says a lot in one episode.
That's a good point. I mean, it really would be like, if you were to pick one to say, someone said, hey, would I like The Mandalorian? Because it's self-contained, you get a sense of who he is very quickly. You get the cuteness of the kid because that's really what's going to sell the show.
Yeah.
And there's more kids playing with the kid. Yeah.
And the look of it, I mean, despite being filmed on the volume, it 100% looked like some other world, all completely outdoors, that entire episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which the whole thing was probably filmed on the volume, wasn't it?
Yeah. But the way they did the overhead shots and that village was surrounded by water,
Yeah.
it looked great.
Yeah. That looks really good. But it also, like, at the end, it plants that seed for, okay, now I'm in. I want to know what happens next. But I don't feel like things are being rushed too much. But you also kind of get information about the characters. And you feel like this is a long story that they're wanting to tell here, right? Like, and every story is not going to be the same based on the stories that have come before as well. So I could see different types of episodes that different directors want to tell as a part of the show as a whole, So it feels like there's enough variety. There's lots of different types of stories you could tell, and Mandalorian's a great vehicle to be able to do that. That's kind of Star Wars that I like, right? I appreciate how, Lucasfilm took a chance on Rogue One, took a chance on Solo. These are stories that are totally different than the regular Skywalker saga. And, as movies, they may not have been as successful as the others, but just that idea that, okay, you don't just have to tell one type of story for Star Wars. There's lots that you can tell. It even branches out from the types of stories they were telling in Clone Wars, right? Like, because they were good and I enjoyed them, but it felt like a lot of them were kind of similar themes for what those types of stories were doing and telling. And so I feel like for this one, you get lots of different types of themes. You get the hero who you can, because it doesn't talk so much, maybe you can kind of picture yourself or kind of put what you want to into the head of that character, right? They're more of a blank slate that lets you fill in what you want to about him. And they do as we continue watching the show.
Yeah, Jonathan, that's a great point. I do like that they, especially this show, they're showing us different characters, new worlds, and they're storytelling in a little bit different way, right? They all have a different approach. So I do like that. Yeah. It's a galaxy. There's going to be a huge, wide variety of cultures and people and good bad guys and bad guys. Heroes, anti-heroes, there's going to be all kinds of people. So yeah,
and just the regular people in Star Wars too, right?
Yep.
Like not everybody.
Just the regular Joe Schmo. Yep.
Yeah.
Farmers trying to, live in peace and just make a living, and yeah.
Exactly.
Just a dude trying to make his way in the galaxy.
Yeah, it's easy to picture Mando as being like a man with no name type of character, but then the way they were able to work in a little bit of a romantic story to it as well, with the widow character, that probably didn't expect that, to see that coming, but it worked.
I feel like it worked. Yeah. It did. Honestly, I feel like there are moments in the 10 minutes of their relationship here that work better than Anakin and Padme.
Yeah.
These two had better chemistry.
True that. On that note, you want to take us out, James?
Yeah, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. Next week, we're going to go ahead and do Mandalorian Season 1, Chapter 5. Join us next. It's either going to be Tuesday or Thursday, most likely Tuesday. And keep a lookout on our Facebook page for events coming up. Thanks for joining us. See ya.
Thanks, everyone.
This is the way.